Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your favorite degenerate, Shade. And we're here today to talk about the Theory Restart official launch patch notes. And I'm a little late to the party. It came out 2 days ago, and the video is only coming out today, which is, what, the 3rd, I think? So I'm a little late to the party. Most of you have probably already watched those videos and already seen all the patch notes, so I'm not expecting a lot, but I appreciate anyone who watches this video, even though it's way late. Okay, so first thing, we knew about this before the thing came out or the patch came out. We already knew about Mio. We already knew about Mizuki. So nothing really to say here except for if you pull her Mio, then you are set for like CC and Terminator. So she's actually absolutely insane. Probably going to be almost T0 across the board, except for like fights like I think like no, she'd still be pretty good on that too. Maybe T0 or T.5 across the board. So she's pretty legit. All we know about Mizuki, I don't even think we know her kit yet. All we really know is she loves fisting. So let's be real about that. The United Front, nothing to really talk about here. It's just the new PvP that's coming out, Union versus Union. They've already promised it, and it doesn't say it here, but from what I hear, it's not going to be available for 2 weeks until 2 weeks after the release. So we got a little time to level up our guys. Also, interesting sidebar that's kind of funny. See right here, it says once a union reaches level 6, both these unions are not level 6 that's in this battle. Level 1, level 3. So that's interesting. Just a little side thing that I noticed. This is pretty average in gacha games, having a little board. It's cool that there's actually gems from this, which is really nice. Some games don't even offer gems. They got pulls and gems. Actually pretty good. And then we got, blah, 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 more part of the shell story. Obviously, this is the most important thing where you can pull more little outfits for your guys. That was already in the beta, but I think they're, making it more of a thing. I don't know what it takes to get these wish use prismatic chips. I don't know where you get them. Not 100%. I don't know if there's something you pull with, you buy with money, or you use shards, or I don't know. Figure it out, or crystals. I mean, gameplay collection, blah blah blah. Nothing too crazy here. Combat balance changes, combat related adjustments. Oh, this one's pretty important. Animus units ascended to 5-star and 6-star will gain an additional 5 points at their base speed attribute. So once you hit 6-star, you will have gained 10 more speed. So, like I think team at I think at 6-star is at like 107, I think base. So she's gonna go to 117. Like it's a pretty big change. Like it's like more incentive to boost your guys to 5 and 6 because you have more speed, which is basically one of the most important stats. Unless you're going a bruiser build, then it doesn't even matter. Because going first, who cares, because you don't ever die. Okay, now here's what we're all waiting for right here. Animus specific adjustments. So Chloro's already the highest pulling damage, single target damage, I believe, in sustain. I don't think it's burst, I think it's sustain. And he went up a whole whopping 80% on his single target damage, which is absolutely crazy. Still not worth a selector pull. Um, but he's really good for Union Boss. Termaton. Yeah, he's a pretty solid thing if you're going for those specifically. So if you pull him in your SSR, oh, another side thing. Most people and I plan on pulling on our permanent banner first to get our first SSR and our first 80 pulls, and then seeing what we get, and then using our selector. So I don't even know what I'm doing with my selector yet. It depends on what I pull. So as long as you pull, literally, there's like at this point, there's nothing absolutely useless unless you pull like Selenites. Then like you're cooked for your first pull. I would almost, I'd never reroll, so it's not really a big deal for me. Even if I pull Selenites, I won't reroll. She is so useless, and she didn't even get a patch, like an update. Her mechanics are completely useless. I'm assuming at some point in the game they'll introduce something that makes her useful, but right now, if you pull Selenites and you're willing to reroll, especially if let you get her in your first temple, then that's not a big deal. If you pull her in hard pity at 80, you pull Selenites as your SSR, you should probably reroll. Unless you're like me, who is stubborn, and I never reroll. I always get what I get, and I have to make it work, even though it's really painful sometimes. Okay, but back to what we were talking about. Veronica actually got like an unnerf because she got nerfed from the previous beta to the beta that just ended. Back in May. basically making her borderline useless because her main mechanic was stealing buffs and giving them to your allies. But then she made an 8% chance to steal all the buffs, but then only a 50% chance to spread it to allies, which is like insane low. Uh, but now it's 100% chance, so she's actually back in rotation now. So she's not a bad pick, even if you want to use her as a selector banner, because you do a team with her and you're spreading the buffs. Because remember, a lot of enemies buff themselves and each other. So if you're stealing all those buffs, and especially in PvP, they're buffing each other. You're stealing the buffs and you're spreading them around. It's kind of insane, especially with the 100% chance. She's not useless anymore. She was completely useless previously because it was just too much chance. Mia got some reduction on some cooldowns here on her Cascade. Her healing up, it's pretty good. She's still kind of a weaker support healer. Well, actually, she's an SSR, so she on the SSR side she's pretty weak. But if you were to compare it to SR characters, then she's still pretty strong. Zyda, which is the SSR with the highest AoE damage in the game, sustain. I'm pretty sure, not AoE, not burst, but sustain. I think I could have some of these metrics wrong. If you want to check it out, go to Pride Win, like the go-to for most gacha players. If you want to see the DPS meters there, you for yourself. While making this video, I glanced at it, but they've been reworking it, so it might be different. So just put that out there. Tiamat literally got like Mizuki fisted, like those big old fists. Like Tiamat got fisted. Like she is not. I don't even think is worth as a selector pick. Initially, she was gonna be like the go-to selector pick for people who just wanted brain dead gameplay. Because you're not thinking of team comp, you're not thinking of nothing. You just go in and you just hit autoplay and boom bada bing, you're gonna win. Because of the shields, the heals, the AoE damage, the taunt, the fact that you stacked HP percentage on her made her near unkillable. Then when even if she got close to being killed, the second she transformed, she had a 30% heal. They reduced it all the way to 10% of her max HP, which is like an insane debuff or nerf. They should have reduced it to like 20%, maybe even 15, but a full 20% drop is just, which if you were to do a different percentage, like 30% is 100%, go down 20%, that's like a 66% debuff. It's insane. Her, healing received also got a buff. And remember, even though this is like small percentages, if 4% equals 100%, it reduces by 1%. That's a 25% nerf. So crazy. Rahu just got like pretty much a buff across the board. His one got single damage increased. His wrathful form, his passive effects, they all got buffs. So that's good. The percentage went from 30% to 40%. His each stack increases his defense by up to 5%, and I'm pretty sure he stacks defense. I think Rahu is the character that you want to stack defense on. I think Lao got a buff, pretty good. Nothing major here. Rosa got, technically it's a 20% nerf, from 10% down to 8% on the target's turn meter, but it's not a huge deal. Rosa is still a solid selector pick. Bjorn got a pretty big buff across the board. 60% here, 40% here. Let's see. Just speed running this real quick. We'll try to, get through this so people don't have to watch an insanely long video about me just yapping about something I know nothing about. Okay, Lily got a buff. Oh, sidebar. I know I keep saying that, and also going back on this. I don't know if I mentioned it, but it bothers me. Maybe it's ADHD, maybe it's OCD. I don't know. But in every patch of every game I've ever seen, green is the buff and red is the debuff. Or nerf, my bad. This is the reverse. Red is the buff, green is the nerf. Which is kind of crazy. Okay, back to this. Class. The class is interesting. Now, from what I understand, they took away her lower speed from her hacking progress and hacked in, and basically gave, even though this is red, technically, I guess you could call hacking in progress and hacked in got nerfed, but that nerf, like they just moved it from, they just took it away from hacking progress, hacked it, and put it into formatting. So formatting does the speed down, but instead of being percentage based, it's just speed down, it's just like a raw like 5 or 10 or whatever it is. But from what I understand, though, I think it's technically a nerf because I heard from somebody. I don't know if this is true. Don't quote me on it. But the lower speed here, hacking progress and hacked in stacked. So it would be like 20% once it's hacked in, but then you could like have hacking progress through like formatting or something like that, and you could keep stacking it. Like not infinitely, but it would end up being more loss of speed for the enemy than what it currently is now. Like that's what I was told. I'm not sure if that's true. I didn't really play Colossus very much. But I had her, but I didn't use it very often. I had like a different setup. Um Frey got a nerf. I'm pretty sure this was like 100% chance for pushback. Now it's 70% chance, so it's a pretty large nerf for that. That's for Dream Whisper. That's not for her ultimate or like that. So take it how you will. Trinidad, I didn't know how busted this ability was. I mean, listen to this. Now it was 30%. Now it's 25. It says, listen to this: deal 4 instances of damage. Forget about the damage. 4 instances. I mean, she hits 4 times. Each attack she has a 30% chance. So to push back the turn meter of the enemy by 30%. This was the initial. That's like 30%, 30%, 30%, 30%. All 4 hit. And so like that's 120% reduced meter. So whoever you hit doesn't even have a turn anymore. They reduced it to 25%, which by the way is still a 100% chance. 100% reduction in the turn meter, but I think they did that to make it so that people had effect res or whatever, or their base res would lower from 100% down to a little bit lower. That's still insane. I actually didn't know she'd work like that. Apparently people were using her on super high level stuff. I think PvP mostly. Actually insane. But they nerfed it by 5%. Not a huge buff, but still. I mean nerf. I meant nerf, my bad. Not a huge nerf, but it is a nerf. Now see, Chaki Illusion Reality is counterpart to Chiaki the Echo, the really busted SR support. Now, this makes Chiaki worth building in my opinion. The one you basically get like that almost everybody gets. I never got Chiaki the Echo, so I got Chiaki though. A bunch of copies of her, but I never got Chiaki the Echo. It makes her worth building, but not early game because she's completely worthless on Doki Doki. She gets cut by Nico Nana, which is like around the border of when you start going to mythic like shells and stuff. But early game, I don't think she's worth the build, but mid to late game, I think Chucky, the reason Chucky is might be actually worth doing because now she got a 3% increase on her percentage or XP. She heals allies for 10% more, heals allies for 6% more. So she got a buff across her entire kit for healing, basically. So take that if you want. So she's actually pretty solid, but if you use her on Doki Doki, you can get slammed. Diana got a nerf, pretty big one, 10% on her turn meter steal, like how much she steals from you. But at the same time, you don't really use her for her turn meter steal or anything like that, honestly. She has like a defense down and I mean the turn meter steal is nice obviously, but you're using it for other stuff as well. But she's still pretty solid, but she did get a nerf. Kraken got a pretty large nerf. So there's the pushback on the turn meter got nerfed, and his freeze got nerfed. His chance to apply from 60% to 50%, which is pretty large. So Kraken, once again though, is still probably one of the best AoE CCers in the game. But he did get a pretty solid nerf. Sania, I think it got blasted the hardest out of anybody. Her and Tiamat, because Sania, so ignore the healing equal to 16 to 14%, which is a nerf, and ignore her healing increase nerf. Ignore that. This is what you need to look at. Fixed an issue where Sania could trigger passive healing while under stun, freeze, petrify, or slumber. Now, see, that's insane because I don't think anybody thought that was an actual. How do I put this? Actual problem. It says I fixed an issue. That wasn't an issue. No one thought that was an issue. Now it is an issue. Now that doesn't affect her PvE, but she's still solid playing PvE. PvP though, like your whole thing was that even if your enemy was faster than you, had the speed over you, she would probably survive, and so would your team, because she'd still be healing while stunned, while petrified, while frozen. And I'm pretty sure you even could cleanse too, still while you could cleanse yourself or cleanse your allies while you were stunned still because of her passive. But now it's gone. So like all your enemy has to do now is just outspeed you and just stun lock her, and she's cooked. It said fixed an issue. Nobody thought that was an issue. Let's be real. But a lot of my teams got nerfed. I was using Marvel. I was using Signing. I was using Kraken. I was using Freya. I was using Tiamat, like on different teams, of course, but I was using them. Marvel got a pretty big nerf. This is more of a PvE nerf, I believe. It says deals damage to a single target with a 50 to 40% chance. So 40% chance is still pretty high, but then it Terminator Steel went from 25% to 15%. That's really large. His 3, which is his ultimate, it pushed back the Terminator from 50% to 40%, and then increased the cooldown. So he got hit pretty hard, but I think they mostly did that because he was just insane in PvP. Victor, I think, is probably one of the people who got pretty big nerf. Now, it doesn't seem like a lot on the face of it. A lot of people think, oh, only 15 to 9%, that's not a lot, right? Like that's not much. See, it is, because for every 10% of HP loss, increases damage dealt by 15%. So he's at 90% health, that's 15% damage. He's at 80% health, that's 30% damage now. At 70%, that's 45%. Like and it just keeps going up. And it's absolutely he was a powerhouse once he started losing health. Obviously, the risk comes with him being close to dying, obviously, but like now it goes from 10 to 15 to, no, I'm sorry, from 15 to 30 to 45. Now it goes from 9 to 18 to 27. That's like almost a 50% nerf right there. Like it's wild. So Victor he got plugged. He got smashed. Dorothy, I didn't even know this was a problem, that she wasn't. I'd never used her really, so I didn't know she wasn't casting her too. Researcher, what used to be an SR that was actually, or no, I'm sorry, not SR, an R that was worth building. Now, they reduced her turn meter increase by 15% reduction. Like that is crazy. So it's now only 20%. So I don't even think she's worth the build anymore. She was initially, because that 35% turn meter was just insane. If you're building a team where you like if you had like her, like Doki Doki, it was actually kind of wild of what you would do and how much turn meter you would get, yada yada. And turn meter reduction too, if you want to run her with a turn meter reduction team or whatever, or turn meter steal. I'm sorry. Shells got hit across it. Reduction in the shield, reduction in the damage of White Fang. Now Codex and Amber both got their skills cannot have their CD reduced, which I think is probably for the best because it was actually really insane. Halloween and picked the trigger and probability. Don't know much about this one. I never had Halloween. But so Twilight Knight, so yeah, his damage got nerfed as a shell, but you don't really use Twilight Knight for his damage. I mean, yeah, the damage is nice. Use him for his defense of 60% of the current term, which is amazing for Union Boss, which is amazing for Termaton, amazing for Aurora, because those are all fights where you're just focused target one thing. Termaton, you focus the left tentacle and then Termaton, or Termaton if you want to just do that. It's unfortunate it doesn't really work well with an AoE team if you're running real Mocha, because it's hard to keep track of something that's you want, because it only affects the defense only when it goes after the lowest HP percentage. So it's mainly good for single target bosses or or single target teams in general. Like it's trash on Doki Doki, like absolutely worthless. Diamond Heart got a nerf to its shield. Still worth getting if you want Diamond Heart. Like if you don't have anything better, it's still pretty worth it. The rest of them are just like optimizations, adjustments, blah blah blah. Not really too much else to talk about, but like I said, pretty big nerfs for people like Victor. For people, Marvel got a nerf. Sani got, Deep Dong. So did Tiamat. A lot of people I used to use just got like splattered. So, but some people got some buffs, and that's pretty good too. I overall think it was a pretty decent patch, except for the fact that everybody I was using got destroyed. So just a quick recap, or just a little quick side thing before I end this video is that might change the way you look at your selector. Like if you're going for T-Mat, I don't think she's worth as a selector pick anymore. So I would skip over T-Mat unless you really like her and you got some plan that I don't know about or that I'm not aware of. You do you. It's whatever you want to do. Me personally, I would not pull for T-Mat, and I honestly hope I don't pull her on my first SSR because I plan on pulling on my permanent banner first and then choosing what I go on my selector banner based on what I pull. Because me, I don't reroll, so I get what I get, and that's it. So I literally like I don't think there's any bad SSR pulls right now. Because Veronica got buffed. McClorse isn't exactly a great pick or a great grab, but it's not out the end of the world. But if you pull Selene, I'm telling you right now, if you have multiple accounts, you should probably reroll. Unless you pull her in the first 10 pull, then that's not that big of a deal. But if you hard pity a Selene, bro, I recommend rerolling. Honestly, unless you spent money during the beta and you got the rebate, or you're like me and I just get what I get and I just do what I do, and that's me. But for everyone else, I don't know. Selene's is the worst thing that you could possibly pull out of it. Like I pray to you, I pray to everybody, I pray for everyone's luck not to pull Selene's because you're gonna have such a hard time if you don't reroll. I know this had nothing to do with the patch notes, but I just had to make that clear. But that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to like and a follow. There'll be more 3 restart videos coming to you in the future, especially after it finally releases here in 2 days. I know I'm a little late to the party on videos and whatnot, but I hope that anyone watching it does enjoy it. I'm gonna be making a union called Corrupt. If I can get the name, hopefully I can. I'm gonna be up exactly when the servers get released. I got a countdown and everything. Hope everything works out that way. I'm either gonna be streaming when the game first comes out on release, or it might be I might get on to get my union started and then hop off until a more reasonable time. But I will be streaming pretty much all day on the 5th. Saying excuse me. On the 5th all day through restart until I run out of energy, and I might even get on multiple accounts to try my luck. I'm not re-rolling, but I want to play multiple accounts because I'm not free to play player, but I'm definitely not pay to win. I am a sea cucumber, or I am, algae. I am a dolphin. I am a whale. I'm broke. So make sure you come in there, check me out at twitch.tv/MMO, and I hope to see you in my next video.